Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chill with Bill, episode 10. Today is Friday. It is the 12th day of March, and it is noon Eastern time. We do this every single Friday. Chill with Bill is about 30 minutes, although it might be longer today. I don't know. Or maybe even short, maybe shorter. Depends on how chatty I am. Maybe we should change the name to Chatty with Bill, or Bill Gets Chatty. I'll throw that in front of the marketing team this weekend. But this is a chance for me to take a deep dive on some sales issues, to give you some ideas for doing your job better, to give you some support, and hopefully help you to create some momentum, especially today as we start to emerge from COVID. Today's sales topic is going to be, where do you start? And I had a really interesting experience writing this content that I can't wait to tell you about. There's a lot of stuff I can't wait to tell you about today. First, let's review the week. I gave you a sales tip on Monday, but I want to talk about the sales tip that I gave you last Monday on March 1st. I pointed out that, hey, it's March 1st, it's a Monday. What a great opportunity to create a sales challenge for yourself. Why not develop some sales activity goals? Kind of like a repeat almost of, or a redo of your New Year's resolutions. Well, here we are at the end of the second week. This is the time that most people fail. Most people quit their goals. And I wanted I had a note on my desk to say, don't forget to tell all the Chill attendees that you can reestablish those goals and just work on 7-day goals. Just slow it down, okay? If you can't take 7 days, just do today. Just say, I'm going to just, create some activity goals for today. But don't quit. Don't quit. Now, you're going to get a lot out of today's sales topic that'll help you, I think, with your sales activity goals. This week's sales tip was called Great Advice Heard Twice. My daughter Madeline threw a book at me and she said, Dad, the Sales Vault is essentially a startup. So you need to read a book called The Lean Startup. And The Lean Startup talked about the two main points. First of all, one was listen to your customers. The guy said, we made a mistake. The first startup that we had, our customers gave us feedback and we said, yeah, that's nice. We'll put that in the mix and we'll use our own intuition, plus we'll listen to what you guys say. And the company failed. And he said, what we realized was our customers had the answers. They had the answers. We should have listened to them. So he said, go talk to your customers. So as I normally do, I put the book down, I went out and I did a lot of listening to customers. And then I get to the point, he's talking about some other things. He's talking about pivot or proceed, which was really very interesting. And then he said, there's another main point. Listen to your customers. And I'm like, wait a minute. He said, go back and listen to them again. Now that they've had some user experience, listen to them again. What a difference that made. I can't tell you how excited I am about the sales challenge and everything that we are going through at the moment. That ding was my daughter out in London. So was that one. She wants to have pancakes with me tomorrow morning like we used to, and she wants me to get up at 3:30 a.m. so that it can be breakfast her time. In any event, what a difference it has made. The input and the feedback that we've received, the changes that we've made to this sales vault based on the input, it's really been very helpful. The book is called The Lean Startup, and I highly recommend it because I think there's a lot of similarities between the concepts that the author is making and prospecting, just in general, prospecting, the whole idea of proceed or pivot. The blog had to do with making better assumptions, because here's the thing, we have all these calls that go into the void. They fall into the abyss, and we call, we leave a message, we call, we leave a message, we call, leave a message, and we finally say, you know what, I can't get this person. What we don't realize is that we are moving the sales needle. We're making the wrong assumption. We're making the assumption that they don't want to do business with us, that they're not listening. That's the wrong assumption. I want you to make better assumptions. I want you to make the assumption they are going to do business with you, just not today. And I get it. I understand that little doubter that sits on your shoulder and says, they're never going to buy from you. Move on. Squash that one. Listen to this one over here that says, if you do X, Y will happen. I want you to remember that because you're going to hear it again today. Let's see, what else? That was the blog. Monday we had office hours. Now, office hours are an insider exclusive. This is where we get together, we create some community. We had 5 people show up this week, nice small group, and everybody brought one sales challenge to the conversation. And I want to go over what one of them was, because it was really, I think it's very relevant. You guys can all relate to this. Bob said, I lost a big quote, and he gave the details. And he said, this thing was going great. And then suddenly the customer said, we're going with another vendor. And I don't know what happened. He said, what could I have done differently? That's a great question. What could I have done differently? And the group gave him some advice. We said, go back and do it again. Go back and think it through. What do you wish you had said? What assumptions did you make? That was a big one. What assumptions did you make? And then what questions should you have asked prior to giving your price? Because part of what he said was, the client ghosted me. And I said to him, so Bob, you know what? I get that. I get that you're ghosted, but what do you wish you had asked when you had the customer? How about, when will the decision be made? When can I follow up? What if I follow up and I can't find you? What do I do? All of those things, you're sitting there going, wow, what's going on? Think about all the questions you wish you had asked. By the time, when you give someone the price, it's game over. Okay? So you have to do all of that work. You have to do all of your discovery before you give the price, because they're either going to ghost you, they're going to say no, or they're going to challenge you on the price. They're going to say, can you do better? And you need to justify your price, because the only other thing you can do is drop your price. So those are the two choices. The last thing that we said to him was, make the winning vendor's follow-up call. And you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. Call up the customer and say, how did it go? Were you happy with the outcome? Did the winning vendor make a phone call like this? Because I might not have been the cheapest price, but you get this kind of customer service. You are showing up the competition, and you're planting a seed for the next time. Yesterday, we had a first of two workshops called Prospecting for Introverts. This was an idea that came from listening to my customers. In one of the focus groups, someone said, you know, I don't feel comfortable talking to strangers and making phone calls and reaching out to people. I'm interrupting, and I'm rather shy. And I reassured her that, you know, there's a market for you as well, and blah, 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 right? And then I thought, boy, that's a great workshop. So we did it, and it was very popular. And we're going to do it again in April, Prospecting for Introverts. This afternoon at 1 o'clock after this event, we will have a time management and sales focus workshop. Now, this is a repeat. The first time we did it, we oversold it. So we have now made accommodations for another group. And so this is about time management. This is about not just how to become more sales efficient, but what should you be doing with your time? It's when those two things intersect. You've heard me talk about this program before. Very effective. 4 weeks. There's homework each week, and this is something I think we're going to be doing on a regular basis. So it's an insider exclusive, just like the Prospecting for Introverts. And let's see. Oh, next week. Next week's Chill with Bill, episode 11. I'm going to be interviewing Kelly Malazzi. Kelly, that's Kelly, the one who's got me in the headlock. That's Kelly. And Kelly is a rock star. Kelly's wonderful. Kelly was a former client of mine who has become a collaborator, and we wrote that book together. And she's tons of fun and very, very sharp. And we're going to be talking on a number of subjects. And we're going to be announcing some additional work that she and I will be doing together in the Sales Vault. And it's going to be very cool. I'm very excited. You know, she's my creative partner as well. And we get ourselves all whipped up into a frenzy coming up with these ideas. And then Allison says, details. I'm the one that has to build the website. Slow down. Anyway, so that's next week. And there'll be a third announcement next week as well. I was just speaking with another collaborator yesterday, and we've come up with another idea that is going to be announced next week. So stick around for Chill with Bill episode 11 next week. On Monday, there will be a focus group, another focus group. I'm going to take my own advice, and I'm going to continue to listen to my customers. I did not do it last week. Totally forgot. It was just, there's a lot of work involved in the Sales Vault thing, and to try to keep up with everything and, you know, make it good and expand it and sell it and everything else. And, you know, I got this hand, I got that hand. I got Allison, I got Madeline over in London doing the giving the advice, but there's a lot going on. The polling question comes out on LinkedIn on Tuesday, and the poll is one thing. The discussion, the conversation that it creates is another. This one was entitled "Ring Ring, You Get Voicemail. Which approach do you take? Do you stay formal and professional, or do you let your personality out?" And the answers went like this all week. But by the time the poll closed today, 62% of you said, "I let my personality out," and 38% said, "I stay formal and professional." And the comments were, a lot of the comments were, "I start formal and professional, and then as I get to know the customer, I let my personality out." But, which was interesting, the comments were one-sided, but the voting was the other. So where I come down on this, I believe you let your personality out from the get-go. You know, be authentic, be who you are. If you're fun, be fun. If you're funny, be funny. But if you're not funny, don't try to be. Because A, it pisses off those of us who are, and B, it's going to go over like a lead balloon. Just, you know, stay in the shallow end of the pool. Stay in your lane, as they say. Let's see, what else is coming up in the vault? In addition to next Friday's announcements, there's going to be a whole new section on selling digital and inkjet printing. This is something that, well, you saw the book. The book is called Who's Making Money at Digital and Inkjet Printing and How. But this is something I've been involved in and I've done since it was called on-demand printing. You know, I mean, I remember reading about the Docutech in the Wall Street Journal. It was that new. It was 1990, 1991. And I started selling this stuff before anybody even heard of it. And I'm going to be posting all the content, all of the sales courses on selling digital and inkjet printing. It's a monster addition to the vault. And Allison's going to kill me when she hears that I announced this today. But you know what? She can only stay mad at me for so long. She likes me a lot. Today we'll be talking about emerging from COVID, a sales plan. This was kind of fun. This was kind of fun to do because I had written this, and ordinarily what I would do is to, as I call this up, I had written this material and then I put it down. The best stuff that I write, I really feel my best work is when I create something, I put it on, I commit it to paper, and then I go back and I edit it, and then I edit it, and then I edit it. And I look back and I go, wow, that's great. Here's what I did this time. I woke up this morning and deleted all of it. All of it. And I rewrote it. So I'm sitting with a cup of coffee. It's 5:30 this morning. And I've got one cat over here and one cat over here. I got Sherlock and Mycroft, my Russian blue crazy cats. And I thought, you know what? I could go grandiose with this. I could tell you, yes, business is not coming back. Okay, you haven't prospected in a while. Okay, no one's returning your calls. No one's picking up the phone. Your motivation is down. Your fear is up. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the Geico approach. This is something I talked about in a previous Chill with Bill. You're going to take the Geico approach, and we're going to have a multifaceted, determine your sales silos, apply Pareto, come up with all of these different campaigns to grow your sales. Go after this vertical, go after new business, existing business, and bam. And then I looked at the title. The title of this presentation is Where Do I Start? Where do I start? So I threw out the presentation and I rewrote it this morning. Allison said to me, "You what?" Yeah, I threw it out and I said, "Where do I start?" And I thought, okay, let's go back to the fundamentals. I do this a lot. You know, there's a sign right there that you can't see that says Simplify. I had it up in a house that I owned in Vermont years ago, and it's one of two things that I took out of the house and when we sold it. But where do you start? Simplify. Go back to fundamentals. Here are the fundamentals. Every sales challenge you are facing has been solved by somebody else. Every sales challenge you're facing has been solved by somebody else. This is one of the foundational points of the Sales Vault. Let's get together, let's solve these problems ourselves. You know, you're not doing anything original. You're not asking original questions. So why suffer? Why go through all of that fear and angst? Why not ask and get some questions? Second fundamental. This is something that I repeatedly have to learn. Your questions are answered by your customers as well. Your customers have the answers to the sales challenges. So you always return to the fundamentals. That's where I started. So I took out my Apple iPad pen and I opened up Notability, which allows me to write. And I said there's two groups. There's legacy reps and there are newbies. Legacy reps and newbies. So I thought, okay, let's start with the noobs. You're just getting started in sales. Maybe this is your first year. Maybe this is your second year. And the economy is about to take off. Like everybody talks about, where do you start? All right. I want you to start with the fundamentals of sales. There are 4 keys to sales success. And we're going to break down each one of these. Number 1, you find your target market. Number 2, you do research on the company so that you can have something of value to say. The single most important selling skill you can have is to have something of value to say, to do the research. Number 3, create a prospecting process. Number 4, apply the process with diligence. Those are your fundamentals. So, excuse me, I'll have a carbonated beverage. that should help. So the target market. The target market needs to be a good fit for you. It also needs to be a good fit for your company. And you can find out, of course, you can ask other people what's the best fit for your company, but the fit for you comes down to personality. There's a certain type of person that I like to do business with, someone who gets the joke, someone who who will become a friend of yours. My clients become friends. And it's someone you click with. You know it instantly. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called Blink, and he talks about educated first impressions or thin slicing. And you will learn to meet, when you meet someone, you're like, I like this guy, this person, this one, she and I, And that happened with Kelly. As soon as I talked to her, I realized, oh my God, this one's special. She gets it. And so the first step is to figure out, well, who are my target markets? Where are they? Where are the growth industries? Which industries are going to benefit from this $1.9 trillion relief package that President Biden signed yesterday and discussed last night? Where are the growth industries? How hard is it to figure that out? Well, you got sources. You got the Wall Street Journal, and you've got Google. What are the growth industries in 2021? You'll be surprised at what comes up. You need to look and pay attention, because the industries will be made known, okay? And it's little things. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday about chips, about semiconductor chips, and how the Americans are blaming the chip makers, but it was actually the car manufacturers that created this. And you have to read between the lines on that. Who's going to do well and how? Understand where the growth industries are. You also have to use your personal expertise. What are you an expert in? I've put 3 kids through the college admissions process. I could have that conversation. We've got 3 more to go, so I think I'll be in good shape there. But what are your interests? Where's your personal expertise? And then maybe you do something by application. You could say, I've got this one great application and I'm going to go repeat it again and again and again. The second thing that you do is to figure out what to say. So you want to research the trends. You can Google something like trends in the banking industry if that's a vertical you go after. But then you research the individual company. Look at their website. Understand what their business needs are. Don't ask who buys the printing, the labels, the packaging, the signage. That's your second question. Your first question is, what are their business needs? Excuse me. Sorry about that. What are their business needs first, and then who cares about that business need second? That's the approach that you want to take. There is an article that I wrote inside the vault, and it's called Horton Hears a What. That article will help you to understand this concept of determining the business needs first. How are they growing? Are they going to go out and get more customers? Are they going to get more from existing customers? And what can I do to help them? So that research brings you to the purpose of my call is now you need a process. You need a step-by-step process consisting of a first impression. What are you going to do first? Some middle steps, a strategy to stop, and a CRM to keep track of it. The process itself is not the secret sauce. Secret sauce is step 4, the diligence. Run the play, run the play, run the play. Establish daily sales activity goals, and then find an accountability buddy. And I'm going to get back to accountability in just a second. So where do you start if you are a new sales rep? You start with a pad of paper and a pen. Go back over those 4 keys and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Target market scale of 1 to 10. How am I doing? 10 being the highest. The companies that I'm calling on now, the people that I'm calling on, how confident do I feel that I've got the right group? Number 2, coming up with something of value to say. Am I making a high value, well-researched sales call? This is my end of the week voice. I do a lot of talking. How confident do I feel that I've got the right kinds of, that I've got something of value to say? Number 3, do I have a prospecting process? Is it a good process? And number 4, am I making enough calls? And am I making enough calls to the right target markets? So those are the 4 things that you need to ask. Where do you start then, to answer my own question? You start by coming up with the names of 5 companies. Do that before the end of the day. That's your starting place. 5 companies that you're going to call on, newbies. Then do the research, create a process, and go. And then repeat, 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 and that is where you start. I'm going to leave you there for just a second. Let's talk about the legacy reps and what the legacy reps need to do. Legacy reps also have fundamentals. They're very much the exact same as before, but you want to start in a different place. Your fundamentals are the same 4 keys. You have target market, high value, well-researched call, process, diligence. Those apply. But you need to also remember your Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People said you can get what you want when you figure out what the other guy wants and help him to get it. You can get what you want when you figure out what the other guy wants. In other words, you want to talk to your customers. This is your starting point. Start with your customers. Study your existing base of business. Remember, this program is called Where Do You Start? So look at your existing accounts. What are their business needs? You want to do some research ahead of time and look at their industry, look at their company, gather what you know about them, and then call them. Your answers, your starting place is right now on the other end of the phone. These are customers, so they should be easier to find. Interview them. Talk to them. Don't solve. Listen. Don't say, oh, I've got something for that. Or, you know what, I've got the exact same problem. Stop. Be a better listener. Remember 3 words. Tell me more. Listen, listen, listen. This is your starting place. Ask open-ended questions. What are your challenges? Where are your customers coming from? What's your plan? What are your fears? Where can we start? Your sales solutions will help them. You can solve your problems by solving their problems. Because I promise you, you're sitting around right now going, oh my God, where do I start? You know what your customers are asking? Oh my God, where do I start? Get it? You can get your answers by providing them with their answers. But you can't solve the problems unless you understand their needs. So you start with a pad of paper and a pen, and you list customers. The customers that you feel most comfortable with first, not biggest to smallest, start small. It doesn't matter. Which are the ones that are the best friends, the ones you feel most comfortable with? List the customers. Have a list of questions you want to ask. Set up a time to talk to them. Have lunch with them if you want to. Have a FaceTime conversation. Hey, can we have coffee? Can we have a FaceTime coffee? Hopefully it won't be at 3:30 a.m. like my daughter wants me to have with me. Start there. And then Say to yourself, for the next 7 days, my goals are, and then make a list of those goals. Today is Friday, March 12th, and I hope you're watching this live so that I can tell you that before the end of the day, you should make a list of customers, a list of questions, do the research so that Monday you can start the calls. That's where you start. So let me back up. What about motivation? What about accountability? Motivation's a funny thing, right? There's the carrot and the stick, but that's moving forward. Where do you start? If you are in a rut, if you are stuck, take this odd advice. Get organized physically. Physically. I can't show you my desk, but it's a bit of a disaster. When I get unmotivated, when I'm stuck, I don't know why, but organizing my workspace is tremendously helpful. I will take breaks. I'll grab the guitar and I'll play a little bit. I got my speaker over there. But that's different. That's like that's kind of a mental break. Like that gives me a little bit of a recharge. But the motivation piece starts with physical organization, because I'll say, oh, look at this note. Oh, I forgot about that, and I'll write it down. And then I'll organize this, and then I'll put the iPad over there. Then I'll take this, and then I'll move this around. And then before I'm done, I have this whole list of things to do, and the motivation returns. I do not know why it happens. I've never understood it, but it's worked for me for decades. Second thing is accountability. You need an accountability buddy. Mine is upstairs. Her name is Allison. Allison is my coach. Allison is my partner in this business. And we hold each other accountable. And we will talk. We go for a walk every day. We talk. And every week, I talk to her about what my goals are, what my priorities are, what are the things that the actual sales activities that I'm going to do. And she does the exact same for me. It gets us organized. If you don't have someone that you report to, if you do, great. Then say to him or her, I want to meet with you once a week. And go to that meeting with plans, sales activity goals for the next 7 days. Have that person write them down. Don't let them off the hook. This is a call you need to have at 8 o'clock every Friday morning. Because what will happen is, if you know you've got that appointment, it forces you to get organized. If you don't have that, then work with another rep. The reason why that book back there got written, the one about it's called the 25 Best Print Sales Tips Ever. The reason it got written was Catherine Monson, the president of Fast Signs International, a very dear friend of mine, she held me accountable. I held her accountable for her book. She held me accountable for my book. And we would meet every other week and say, what are we going to do between now and then? It was a great lesson. And I wrote it and all of a sudden, boom, by the end of the summer, I was done. My book was written. Accountability works that way, but you have to line up with somebody. So listen, just focus on today, okay? Try and get something done today, and try and start today with a plan for next week. And then Monday, work on Monday. And then Tuesday, work on Tuesday. Don't worry about the old stuff. Stay in the moment. Stay in the here and now. Don't fret the past. Don't worry about the future. Right now, just do your job. Because success breeds success. Now, do your job doesn't mean results. Do your job means activity. So define it and believe, this is the final piece, believe that if you do X, Y will happen. If you do X, Y will happen. If you make a high-value, well-researched call to the right target markets, applying a process with diligence, success will happen. I guarantee it. The only guarantee I make. Those 4 things. You do those 4 things and you do them consistently, success will follow. Can you improve each one of those 4? Absolutely. Just focus on today. Get yourself organized. Have this place to start, which is what this presentation was all about. And you know what? That's your homework for today, I guess. If you're a newbie rep, you want to come up with a list of customers. If you're an experienced rep, you want to come up with a list of customers. Places to start. Companies, I should say. For newbie reps, you want to come up with a place for companies that you're going to call on. Then do the research, then create a process, and then go. For the experienced reps, start with a list of customers that you can talk to, and then do the research on them, figure out where they're going, figure out where their industries are headed, and then make the calls. That is a place to start. I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for listening to that. Let me get back to my other page here. Some final words. A reminder to restart your sales challenge and just focus on the next 7 days. make a plan for Monday before you leave today, Friday, March 12th, because it'll make a big difference. You'll get a little bit of piece of what good time management is. And all of this material, there's lots of support material and programs in the Sales Vault. We have the time management program that's coming up at the top of the hour. We have, we will be redoing the Prospecting for Introverts. It's a two-part program. The next time is going to be next Thursday, but we will be redoing this in April. We've got some new programs coming online. We're going to have a whole list of these programs and workshops that are going to be just repeating, and we'll be adding to them. So stay tuned for more good stuff. And if you get an email from me to be a part of the research group, part of the focus group, I would appreciate your saying yes. And if you can't do it on that particular day, but you do want to be included for a future focus group, great. I'd love to have you. Thanks for listening today. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to change your clocks tomorrow night. And I will talk to you on episode 11 of Chill with Bill. This one featuring the fabulous Kelly Malazzi. Thanks.